the alien who rode the last dragon of Earth. The year was 3097, and Earth was quiet. Too quiet. The skies no longer roared with the sound of machines, and the cities had long turned into skeletons of metal and glass. Only the wind whispered through the ruins, carrying with it the memory of a world that once lived and laughed. In this silence, something bright fell from the heavens. A silver light tore across the black sky and struck the old mountain ranges of what was once Asia. The explosion shook the valley, lighting up the dead forests in a ghostly glow. From the crater rose a being, not human, not machine. Its skin shimmered like moonlight, and its eyes glowed soft blue, as if holding a universe within them. The alien stumbled forward, scanning the barren world around it. "My name is Kael," it said in a soft, echoing voice that seemed to blend with the wind. "And this is Earth." Kael had come from a world far away, a planet called Illyria. His people were travelers, explorers who moved from dying worlds to new ones, searching for balance, life, and hope. He had heard the stories of Earth, once a world of oceans and forests, of humans and legends. But now it seemed empty. He began walking across the wastelands. The sun, dimmed and weak, hung low in the sky. The ground was cracked and dry, scattered with bones and forgotten relics. He saw broken towers covered in vines and strange metallic creatures rusting away, machines that humans had built but could no longer control. Kael stopped beside a lake, what was left of one. Its water was dark, reflecting the dull sky above. He knelt beside it, dipping his hand into the liquid. It was warm, not with life, but with the planet's exhaustion. "This world is dying," he whispered. But then he heard something. A low sound, deep and ancient, like thunder rolling from the heart of the earth. It echoed again, closer this time, powerful and heavy. The ground trembled. Kael stood quickly and turned. From the mist that hung over the lake, a shadow began to rise. Massive wings unfurled, breaking through the fog. Scales glistened like burning coal, and eyes as bright as molten gold locked onto him. A dragon, the last of its kind. Kael froze, his heart pounding. He had studied many creatures across galaxies, but nothing like this. The dragon towered above him, its presence ancient and regal. The dragon spoke, not with words, but with a voice that filled Kael's mind. "Who dares step upon the ashes of my home?" Kael's mind trembled under the power of that voice. He took a slow step forward and said softly, "I mean no harm. I am Kael, from a faraway star. I came to see if life still breathes on this world." The dragon's eyes narrowed, glowing fiercely. "Life," it rumbled. "There is little left of that. The humans destroyed what they could not control. And now, even the wind forgets their names." Kael lowered his gaze, feeling a deep sorrow. "My people watched your world die from afar. But we could not interfere. It was forbidden." The dragon circled him slowly, smoke curling from its nostrils. "Forbidden? Then why are you here now, Starwalker?" Kael hesitated. "Because I heard a song. A faint signal carried through the stars. It came from this world, from you." The dragon stopped moving. Its golden eyes softened for the first time. "You heard my call?" Kael nodded. "A message of sorrow and of hope." For a long moment, the dragon said nothing. Then it lowered its massive head and stared into Kael's eyes. "You are brave to come here, alien. Brave or foolish." "I am both," Kael said with a faint smile. The dragon's gaze shifted toward the horizon where the ruins of mountains glowed faintly under the twilight. "My name is Vathar," the dragon said at last. "I am the last dragon of Earth, born in the fires of the old world. I have guarded these ashes for 1,000 years. Waiting." "Waiting for what?" Kael asked. "For the stars to speak again." That night, Kael stayed by the dragon's side. They built a small fire, though the dragon didn't need its warmth. Kael studied the stars above, the same stars that had guided him here. He spoke of galaxies beyond, of cities made of light, of creatures that floated through nebulae like living clouds. The dragon listened silently, its golden eyes reflecting the starlight. "You speak of wonders," Vathar said. "But tell me, why does your heart carry sorrow?" Kael hesitated, then said quietly, "Because my world is dying too. And we're searching for another home." The dragon looked up at the stars. "Then perhaps our fates are not so different." They sat in silence for a while. Then Kael asked, "Why did you call me here?" The dragon breathed deeply, a sound like the sigh of mountains. "Because I cannot fly anymore," Vathar said softly. "My wings are broken. The skies no longer welcome me. But I remember when dragons soared among the clouds, when fire and wind danced together. I wanted someone to remember us before the end." Kael looked at the massive wings folded against the dragon's body, scarred and torn. "Maybe you can fly again," he said. The dragon laughed, a sound deep and thunderous. "You do not understand. The sky itself has forgotten how to carry us." But Kael only smiled. "Then maybe we remind it." The dragon tilted its great head. "You speak like a dreamer." "I am," Kael said. "And dreams are the first steps to change." The dragon's golden eyes glowed brighter. For the first time in centuries, something like hope flickered in them. "Then perhaps, dreamer from the stars," Vathar said slowly, "you will help me fly once more." Kael stood and looked toward the horizon, where the sky shimmered faintly with the first light of dawn. "Yes," he said softly. "Let's make the earth remember the sky again." The dawn came quietly over the ruins of the old world. The air shimmered faintly with the heat of the rising sun, though its warmth felt weak, as if even the sun had grown tired of watching Earth fade. Kael awoke beside the dragon's resting place, where the ashes of the fire still glowed faintly. He looked up and saw Vathar's massive form stretched across the valley, wings folded tightly around his body. The dragon looked almost like a mountain of silver-black stone, still and ancient. Kael stood and touched the dragon's wing gently. "Wake up, old one," he said softly. The dragon's eyes opened, glowing like gold beneath the shadows. "You rise early, Starwalker," Vathar rumbled, his voice echoing across the valley. "There's much to do," Kael replied. "You said your wings are broken. I want to see if we can fix them." The dragon gave a low chuckle, the sound deep and tired. "You think my wings are like your machines? That you can mend them with your alien tools?" Kael smiled faintly. "Maybe not with tools, but perhaps with understanding." He began walking around the dragon, examining the scars along its wings. The scales were cracked, edges dull and burnt, as though scorched by some terrible fire. Beneath the scales, faint blue veins pulsed weakly, remnants of ancient magic, nearly gone. "What happened to you?" Kael asked. Vathar's eyes grew distant. "When the humans waged their final wars, they built machines that could burn the sky. The dragons tried to stop them, but we were hunted. They feared us, feared our power, our fire, our freedom. They built weapons that tore through clouds and mountains alike. Many of my kind fell. I was struck by their stormfire, a weapon of light that burned my wings and my spirit. I fell here and never flew again." Kael's heart ached at the dragon's words. "You've been alone all this time?" "Yes," Vathar said softly. "For centuries, I've guarded the ashes of what was once beautiful." Kael placed his hand upon the dragon's side. "Then maybe it's time for something new." "New?" Kael nodded. "My people believe that energy never dies. It changes form. The fire in your heart, the breath in your wings, it's still here. It only needs to be awakened." The dragon tilted his head, curiosity gleaming in his golden eyes. "You speak as if you understand Dragonfire." "I understand life," Kael said simply. "And I can feel yours still burns." Kael opened a small silver sphere from his pack, a device that shimmered with soft blue light. He pressed a few symbols, and a gentle hum filled the air. Thin streams of energy flowed outward, scanning the dragon's body. The dragon tensed. "What are you doing?" "Listening," Kael said. "Your body speaks in energy. I'm trying to hear what it's saying." The light rippled over Vathar's scales, revealing faint patterns of energy that ran through his wings like sleeping rivers. Kael smiled. It's still there, the flow of life, just weakened. If we can restore it, you can fly again. Vathar looked doubtful. And how will you restore what the world itself has forgotten? Kael looked toward the mountains. By finding what remains of the old power. The dragons were born of Earth's fire, weren't they? Yes, Vathar said slowly. We rose from the molten breath of the world, from the song of creation itself. Then the fire still exists, Kael said. Deep beneath the earth. We'll go to it. The dragon laughed again, smoke rising from his nostrils. You speak of traveling to the heart of the world. Few have dared. None returned. Kael smiled. Then we'll be the first. They began their journey across the wasteland. Kael rode upon Vathar's back, the first living soul to do so in 1,000 years. Though the dragon could not fly yet, he moved with great power, his claws shaking the ground as he walked. As they traveled, Kael saw the remains of what was once humanity's glory. Broken cities, shattered towers, metal bones half buried in dust. In some places, strange plants grew, mutated by radiation but still clinging to life. At night, they rested under the stars. Kael told the dragon about his own world, Illyria, a world of floating oceans and shining crystal forests. But even that world was fading now, consumed by hunger for progress. Vathar listened in silence. Your people sound much like the humans, he said at last. Kael nodded sadly. Maybe we are. That's why I wanted to come here. To learn what destroyed them, so it doesn't destroy us too. The dragon looked toward the stars. Then perhaps the lesson lies not in their end, but in what they forgot to protect. On the 7th day, they reached the entrance to the fire caves, the last known passage to the heart of the earth. The ground glowed faintly with crimson light, and heat shimmered in the air. Kael dismounted and looked into the dark opening. This is it, he said quietly. Vathar lowered his head. Once, dragons came here to renew their fire. It was sacred. But no one has entered since the wars. Kael turned toward him. Then let's bring back the fire together. The dragon's golden eyes glowed brighter. You are fearless, alien. Perhaps too fearless. Kael smiled faintly. Fear is what keeps us from becoming what we're meant to be. Vathar let out a deep breath, and flames flickered faintly between his teeth. Then lead on, Kael of the stars. Let us see if the earth still remembers her children. Together, they entered the caves. The air grew thick and hot, the walls glowing with veins of red crystal. The ground rumbled beneath their feet, as if the world itself were waking. As they went deeper, Kael could feel the energy rising, the pulse of the planet, faint but alive. He turned to the dragon. Do you feel it? Vathar closed his eyes, and for the first time, his voice trembled with awe. Yes, it's her heartbeat. The earth still breathes. Kael smiled. Then let's awaken her flame. But deep within the caves, something else stirred. A shadow moved across the molten walls, dark, heavy, and alive. Vathar stopped, his nostrils flaring. We are not alone, he growled. Kael's eyes glowed faintly as he activated his visor. Shapes appeared on the screen, strange metallic creatures slithering along the walls, their eyes red and burning. Machines, Kael whispered. Old war drones. They're still active. Vathar's growl deepened. Then we must fight, Starwalker. For the fire, and for the sky. Kael nodded and drew a glowing silver blade from his pack. The dragon's wings spread wide, their cracked scales glinting in the red light of the caves. And together, alien and dragon, they faced the darkness that guarded the heart of the earth. The tunnels rumbled as the ancient machines awoke. Red eyes blinked open in the shadows, hundreds of them, crawling along the molten walls like metal insects. Their bodies were rusted but still deadly, covered in blades and burning cores. Kael stepped forward, his silver blade glowing with pale blue light. Vathar lowered his head, smoke coiling from his nostrils as the fire within his throat began to stir. These things were built by humans, Vathar growled. They dug too deep into the world's heart, seeking power they couldn't control. Kael nodded, scanning the cave. Then they left their guardians behind, to protect what they couldn't use. The first machine leapt from the wall, screeching as its claws cut through the air. Kael ducked, his blade slicing through its metal chest. Sparks exploded as it fell to the ground. Another followed, and then a dozen more. Vathar roared, a sound so powerful that it shook the cave itself. Flames burst from his mouth, bright as a sunbeam, incinerating a swarm of machines in an instant. The fire painted the walls with gold and red, lighting up the hidden carvings etched into the rock, ancient dragon symbols, glowing faintly as if remembering their old power. Kael fought beside the dragon, moving swiftly, his alien weapon cutting through metal like paper. He felt the heat of the dragon's flames against his back and the pulse of the planet beneath his feet. "Keep going," Kael shouted. "The energy source is deeper." The dragon crushed another wave of drones beneath his claws, molten metal spilling like blood. "You lead," he said. "I'll clear the way." Kael sprinted forward, guided by the glow of the red crystals embedded in the cave walls. The path grew steeper, the air hotter. The hum of the earth's heart grew louder with each step. Finally, they reached a vast cavern, the heart of fire. It was a massive underground chamber filled with molten rivers and floating stones. At the center stood a colossal crystal, burning like a sun. Energy surged through it in rhythmic pulses, the heartbeat of the planet itself. Kael stopped in awe. "It's beautiful." Vathar approached slowly, his golden eyes wide. "This is where we were born," he whispered. "The fire that gave life to the first dragons. The breath of Earth herself." Kael turned to him. "Then this is what you need. If we can connect your fire to this source, it could heal your wings. It could restore what was lost." The dragon's gaze softened. "You would give me the sky again?" Kael smiled faintly. "Not give. Help you take it back." He placed a sphere on the ground. Thin beams of light spread from it, forming a bridge between the dragon and the glowing crystal. Energy rippled through the air, bright and wild. The entire cavern seemed to awaken. The dragon roared as the light touched his scales. Blue fire crawled across his body, tracing the lines of his wings, mending cracks that had remained for centuries. The sound of rushing energy filled the space like the song of the stars. Kael held his ground, his own body shaking as he channeled the power through the sphere. "Stay with me, Vathar. Don't fight it, let it flow." The dragon's wings flared open. The veins of energy pulsed brighter and brighter until they burned with blinding light. The molten rivers below glowed white-hot, and the crystal's heartbeat grew faster. Then, a sudden explosion of energy shook the cavern. Kael was thrown back, the sphere cracking under the strain. The dragon roared, the sound echoing through every tunnel. Kael shielded his eyes as a wave of heat washed over him. When he opened them again, he saw Vathar standing tall, wings fully open and glowing like living fire. The dragon looked at his wings in disbelief. It's back," he whispered. "The flame, the strength. I can feel the sky calling." Kael smiled weakly, sweat running down his face. "Then answer it." Vathar lowered his head, eyes glowing bright. "You risked your life for me, Starwalker." "Why?" Kael looked at him, his voice soft. "Because sometimes helping another rise helps us remember what it means to live." The dragon was silent for a long time. Then he said, "Then come, Kael of Illyria. Climb upon my back. The sky has waited long enough." They left the cavern, the dragon's wings glowing faintly in the darkness. When they reached the surface, dawn was breaking again. For the first time in 1,000 years, sunlight reflected on a dragon's wings. Kael climbed onto Vathar's back, holding tight as the dragon crouched low. The air trembled around them. The dragon spread his wings wide, each movement scattering dust and ashes. "Ready?" the dragon asked. Kael grinned. "I was born ready." Vathar leapt from the ground. For a heartbeat, gravity held him. Then, with a thunderous roar, his wings caught the wind. Fire burst from his scales, and the dragon soared into the sky. The earth below trembled as they rose higher and higher. The air grew cold, thin, but Kael didn't care. He laughed, the sound mixing with the dragon's roar. Below them, the dead world began to glow, the rivers reflecting light, the clouds parting for the first time in centuries. Vathar's voice echoed through Kael's mind. The sky remembers us. Kael looked up, eyes filled with tears. And so will the stars. They flew for hours, soaring above mountains and broken cities. From above, Earth looked almost alive again, touched by the light of the dragon's fire. But as they flew higher, Kael noticed something strange, a dark storm gathering on the horizon. It wasn't natural. The clouds swirled with black light, crackling with energy. Vathar growled, "That is no storm. That is the shadow." "The shadow?" Kael asked. "The last weapon of the humans," Vathar said. "A storm of machines and poison, left to consume everything when they lost control. It destroyed the dragons, and now it stirs again." Kael's expression hardened. "Then we stop it. Together." Vathar's wings flared. "Together." And the dragon turned toward the storm, fire blazing from his mouth, as alien and dragon, creatures from two dying worlds, flew into the heart of the darkness to save what little light remained. The horizon burned black. The storm ahead was unlike anything Kael had ever seen. It churned like a living beast, vast and endless, stretching across the dead plains and swallowing what little light remained. The clouds twisted with veins of red lightning, and inside the darkness moved shapes, metallic, crawling, whispering in mechanical hunger. Vathar's wings trembled slightly as he slowed his flight. "The shadow was born in the final days of mankind," he said grimly. "They built it to cleanse the earth when they could no longer control their wars. It devoured everything, machines, flesh, even fire." Kael gripped the dragon's neck tightly. "Then it's a weapon without a master." "Yes," the dragon said, voice heavy. "It feeds on power, magic, energy, even life itself. The more we burn, the stronger it becomes." Kael looked out at the storm's edge, where the black clouds shimmered like oil. "Then we'll have to outthink it, not outfight it." The dragon's golden eyes flickered toward him. "You have a plan, Starwalker?" Kael hesitated, scanning the horizon. "The shadow draws power from energy sources. If we can lead it back to the heart of fire, we could overload it, burn it from the inside out." Vathar let out a deep, rumbling growl. "A risky plan. You would call the storm into the womb of the world itself." Kael nodded. "Sometimes, to end a curse, you must bring it back to where it began." The dragon looked to the black sky ahead, the storm's roar echoing like 1,000 voices crying out at once. "Then hold tight, Kael of Illyria," Vathar said, his tone both proud and sorrowful. "We fly into the heart of death." They dove into the storm. The sky turned pitch black. Red lightning cracked around them, illuminating massive shadows within the clouds, towering mechanical constructs, their wings like blades, their eyes glowing crimson. The air was thick with static and ash. Kael's visor flickered, warning signals flashing across the screen. "There are hundreds of them," he shouted. "Then let them come." Vathar roared. The dragon opened his mouth, releasing a torrent of blue-white flame. The fire tore through the dark, burning through swarms of drones. But for every one destroyed, 2 more emerged. Kael fired bursts from his plasma rifle, each shot lighting up the storm for a brief, brilliant moment. "They're feeding off your fire," he realized. "They're absorbing the energy." "Then we use another kind of fire," Vathar growled. He dove sharply downward, slicing through the clouds, his scales scraping the edge of the lightning. Kael held on tight, his heart pounding as they spiraled through the storm. The sound was deafening, metal grinding, thunder booming, engines screaming. Below them, a colossal shape began to emerge from the black mist, a massive machine, larger than mountains, crawling across the wasteland. Its surface was covered in spinning blades and glowing cores. In its center, a red eye opened, the size of a cathedral. Kael's breath caught. "That's the core of the shadow. The heart of the storm," Vathar said. "And the source of its hunger." The giant machine lifted one of its limbs, a spire of jagged steel, and fired a beam of dark energy. The blast struck the dragon's wing, sending him spinning. Kael shouted as they plummeted through the air. "Vathar! Hold on," the dragon roared, regaining balance just before they hit the ground. His left wing smoked where the blast had struck, scales cracked again, glowing faintly. Kael leapt down, his boots landing on scorched earth. The storm raged above them, black lightning striking the ground in bursts of fury. The dragon panted, steam rising from his wounds. "It drains my strength faster than I can recover," he said. "If I fall again, I may not rise." Kael looked toward the monstrous machine towering above them. "Then we end it before that happens." He pulled out the cracked silver sphere, the same one he had used to awaken Vathar's wings. It still pulsed faintly with the energy of the heart of fire. Vathar's eyes widened. "You cannot use that. It will destroy you." Kael smiled faintly. "Maybe. But if I can connect its energy to the storm's core, it might just overload it." The dragon shook his head, lowering his snout close to Kael. "You remind me of the humans, their courage, their foolishness. Do not throw your life away." Kael placed a hand on the dragon's nose. "You said once that dragons were born from Earth's fire. I think humans and maybe Illyrians carry that same spark. Sometimes, it burns brightest when all else fades." Vathar stared at him for a long moment, his eyes burning with pride and sorrow. "Then if this is your path, I will walk it with you." Kael climbed back onto his back. The dragon roared, spreading his damaged wings, and launched into the air once more. The shadows I tracked them, firing again, beams slicing through the clouds. "Now!" Kael shouted. Straight for the core, they dove together, cutting through the storm like a blade, through silk. The black clouds split apart as the dragon's fire illuminated the sky. Kael held the silver sphere high, the light from it growing brighter and brighter until it rivaled the sun. The machine roared, a sound like a dying god, as the beam struck the sphere. Kael screamed as the energy tore through him, burning like molten metal, but he didn't let go. "Vathar! Now!" The dragon roared and unleashed his full fire, a river of blue flame that collided with the sphere's light. The energies merged, spiraling together into a blinding explosion. The shadow screamed as cracks of golden light split across its body, the storm shattering like broken glass. For one glorious moment, the entire sky was filled with light. The storm was gone. Then silence. Kael felt the world tilt beneath him. He looked down at his hands. The sphere was gone, turned to ash. His strength faded fast. Vathar's voice echoed in his mind. Soft now. "Kael, you did it." Kael smiled weakly. "We did it." The dragon hovered in the calm sky, the sunlight breaking through for the first time in centuries. Below them, the world glowed faintly, rivers of molten light weaving through the earth like veins. But Kael's vision began to blur. "Vathar, if I don't make it, do not speak of endings," the dragon said gently. "Stars never die. They only become part of new skies." Kael laughed faintly. "That's poetic." The dragon's golden eyes shimmered. "Hold on, little star. The sky is waiting for us both." Vathar descended slowly, landing near the ruins of the old mountains. Kael lay limp against his scales, his breath faint. The dragon looked down at him, sadness burning deep within his eyes. "You gave the world light again," he said quietly. "You reminded me how to hope." Kael opened his eyes just enough to whisper, "Promise me, you'll keep flying." The dragon lowered his head close to Kael's. "I will, my friend. And when I soar among the stars, I'll carry your name with me." Kael smiled one last time as the wind brushed his face. "Then maybe I'll see you up there." And the light faded from his eyes. Vathar lifted his gaze to the heavens. The storm was gone. The world below still burned with faint rivers of light. Slowly, the dragon spread his wings, now stronger than ever, glowing with the fire Kael had helped him reclaim. "Goodbye, Kael of Illyria," he whispered. "You are the brightest flame this world ever knew." He roared, a sound that echoed across mountains, valleys, and forgotten cities, a cry not of sorrow, but of rebirth. Then, with one mighty beat of his wings, the last dragon of Earth soared into the endless sky. The sky was reborn. After centuries of silence, light and color once again spread across the heavens. The storm was gone, the air clear, and for the first time in 1,000 years, the stars shone down upon Earth. Vathar flew higher and higher, his massive wings cutting through thin air like blades of fire. Each beat of his wings left trails of blue light across the sky. The clouds parted beneath him, revealing the broken but slowly healing world below. From above, he could see rivers glowing faintly where molten energy had spilled from the heart of the earth. Forests began to shimmer with new green shoots, fragile but alive. The breath of the world had returned. But the dragon's heart was heavy. Upon his back, the small form of Kael lay still, motionless but peaceful, his silver armor cracked and dim. Vathar's deep voice rumbled softly, carried by the wind. You gave your fire to awaken mine. You taught me that even ashes can burn again. He remembered the alien's laughter, his courage, his hope in a world that was not his own. He remembered the way Kael looked at the stars, as if he already belonged among them. You came from the heavens, little star, Vathar whispered. And now, to the heavens, you shall return. The dragon climbed higher, through layers of air so thin that his wings shimmered with frost. The sky deepened to black, and the stars grew brighter, closer. He had never flown this high before. It felt as if the world was letting him go. At last, he broke through the edge of the atmosphere. Earth hung below him, blue and gold and cracked, but alive. Around him stretched the endless void, scattered with billions of lights. Vathar's wings glowed brighter, his body surrounded by a faint halo of flame. The vacuum should have silenced everything, but somehow his heart still roared, a sound that reached the edge of space, echoing faintly among the stars. He looked down at Kael once more. You wanted to see your home among the stars again, he said softly. Now I'll take you there. He flew among the constellations, tracing ancient patterns that had once guided sailors and dreamers. He passed the broken satellites that floated silently, reminders of humanity's reach toward the heavens. He found one still glowing faintly, a small Illyrian beacon, orbiting Earth. When Vathar approached, it flickered, recognizing the energy signature in Kael's armor. A soft voice emerged from the beacon, faint but clear. Explorer Kael of Illyria, signal received. Transmission open. Vathar lowered his head. He has fallen, the dragon said. But his dream lives. The beacon hummed gently, its lights pulsing like a heartbeat. Kael of Illyria, mission complete. The last world breathes again. Vathar closed his eyes. He did more than that. He gave it hope. The dragon remained there for a long time, hovering in the black sea of space. Below him, Earth glowed with soft light. Above, the stars shimmered endlessly, silent witnesses to all that had passed. Vathar finally lifted Kael's body gently from his back. His massive claws held him, as one might hold something sacred. Rest now, traveler, he whispered. You've earned the peace of the stars. With a breath of fire, soft and bright, Vathar released Kael's body into the void. The flames surrounded the alien like wings of light. He drifted upward, glowing brighter and brighter until he became a new star in the heavens, small, steady, eternal. Vathar watched it rise, his golden eyes reflecting its glow. There, he said softly. You will guide those who come after, just as you guided me. The dragon turned back toward Earth. He could see clouds swirling once more, rain falling over empty lands, rivers filling again. The world was waking, slow and fragile, but alive. He descended slowly, his wings casting wide shadows across the sky. When he landed upon the mountain where he had first met Kael, the valley was green again. Tiny shoots of grass pushed through the cracked ground. The wind carried the scent of rain. Vathar lay down, resting his wings. For the first time in centuries, he felt peace. He gazed up at the new star shining above. You said dreams are the first steps to change, he murmured. Perhaps you were right. The wind rustled through the valley, whispering softly, as if answering him. Vathar closed his eyes. His heart beat slow and strong, in rhythm with the earth below. Years passed, and in time, the story of the alien and the last dragon became legend. The forests grew again. Rivers ran free. And in the sky, every night, one star shone brighter than all the others, a small, steady light that travelers and dreamers followed. They called it Kael's star. And those who still believed said that when the world needed guidance once more, the dragon would rise again, following the light of that same star, just as he had before. Far above, among the constellations, a faint shadow moved. A dragon of light soared silently between the stars, wings glowing with celestial fire. And beside him, a voice whispered through the cosmos, soft, familiar, eternal. Ready for another flight, old friend? Vathar's golden eyes gleamed. Always. And together, alien and dragon, brothers born from fire and starlight, rode once more through the endless night, not as the last of their kind, but as the first of a new legend.